exposed how Buhari's Attorney General Malami conspired with ADOKE against Nigerians' interest in over $1 billion Malabu oil scam. Welcome to the news, and thank you for tuning in to listen. The oil resources of the OPEL 245 license have remained undeveloped since the controversies began. One of those being prosecuted by the Nigerian government is ADOKE. Fresh moves by Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami's son to thwart the prosecution of suspects in the Malabu oil scam, including one of his predecessors, Mohammed ADOKE, have been uncovered. The Malabu oil scandal involved the transfer of over $1 billion by Shell and ENI through the Nigerian government to accounts controlled by a former Nigerian petroleum minister, Dan Etete. From accounts controlled by Etete, about half of the money, $520 million, went to accounts of companies controlled by Aliyu Abubakar, popularly known in Nigeria as the owner of AA Oil. Anti-corruption investigators and activist suspects he confronted for top officials of the Goodluck Jonathan administration, as well as officials of Shell and ENI. The transaction was authorized in 2011 by ex-President Jonathan through some of his cabinet ministers, and the money was payment for OPEL 245, one of Nigeria's richest oil blocks. The oil resources of the OPEL 245 license have remained undeveloped since the controversies began. One of those being prosecuted by the Nigerian government is ADOKE. He is facing trial over the alleged role he played in the fraudulent transfer of the ownership of an oil block, OPEL 245, regarded as one of the biggest in Africa. Other defendants include Abubakar, Raski, Binigi, and 4 companies: Malabu Oil Company and Gas, Malabu Oil and Gas Limited, Nigeria AGF Exploration Limited, Shell Nigeria Ultra Deep Limited, and Shell Nigeria Exploration Production Company Limited. Sources told Tara reporters that different moves to frustrate the prosecution were planned by Malami, Kabiru Tanimu Turaki, former Special Duties Minister and senior partner of Malami, and ADOKE and the Maitama private office of AGF. The media was yesterday overwhelmed with the news of Nigerian government's action against anti-corruption and human rights activist Olarewaju Suraju over the allegations of forgery by Mohammed Bello ADOKE, ex-Attorney General of the Federation, standing trial over complicity and bribery in the Malabu case. The speed of submission of a case file from IGP office dated 20th September 2021 and purported filing of action before a court in Abuja is more than telling. Most Nigerians do not know that this is a conspiracy and was act in the Maitama private office of Malami between Malami, Turaki, and ADOKE. Imagine, I was worried at the level of confidentiality exhibited during this meeting between the AGF and someone being prosecuted by his office on behalf of the government. Kabiru Tanumu was also spotted at Malami's office last Friday night. This same Malami in the past has attempted to thwart the government efforts at prosecuting the Malabu heist by writing a letter to Buhari advising him to withdraw any action against suspects in the fraud, one of the resources said. A memo dated 27 September 2017 to Buhari by Malami read, "This is nothing to show that the parties as constituted were at all times working together and having meeting of the mind to forge CAC documents and use them for the purpose of diverting the shares of the complainants and thereafter enter into a settlement agreement with the federal government of Nigeria and other parties to take delivery of the proceeds of sale OPEL 245. There is also nothing in the proof of evidence to support the charge of money laundering, and it is therefore impossible for the prosecution to prove the elements which include illicit funds, transfer for such through various channels to reintroduce same again into the regular financial system as legitimate funds in financial institutions. Without the express proof of this element, the count may not be sustained on the premise of the attached proof of evidence." Sahara reporters gathered that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), then led by Ibrahim Mago, countered Malami in a memo to the president, and it was overruled. This was at a time trial was already sustained in Milan and United Kingdom against principal actors in the controversial deal. What was most surprising was the appearance of an internal memo between the AGF and the president in court through ADOKE's lawyer. That was sufficient to have led to the sacking of Malami, but Buhari was too weak, another source told Sahara reporters. On the allegations of forgery by ADOKE, the Inspector General Ordinary had allowed professional investigation by the Interpol and Cybercrime Unit. See the letters by the unit into the matter until Malami saw an opportunity to deal with Suraju and Hida in addition to sabotaging the Malabu cases. Both Suraju and Hida have consistently campaigned against the corruption of Malami and his abuses of office. Hida even called for Malami's removal from office. Malami intervened with the police IGP for ADOKE and investigations by the Interpol, and the AGF were aborted for the notorious IGP monitoring unit to conclude the hatchet job. He personally requested for a hurriedly concocted report to be submitted to his office, while ADOKE interacted with some media executives to keep the stages in media. Another source in the Ministry of Justice expressed surprise at the speed they were directed to prepare and file the charges against Suraju. We could not even see any evidence to sustain charges in the submitted file, but the AGF wanted it prepared and filed soonest. That file has received the fastest treatment in the history of our ministry under Malami. With these charges, it is certain the actions of the Nigerian government against JP Morgan in London, where the email London investigation is threatened by Malami's action. The Italian court, which indicated ADOKE of receiving bribes in the deal, must also be monitoring development, the source said. What are all this wealth for? If it is to eat, what is the worth of the food? How many houses can one live at a time? Cars, private jets, today Dubai, tomorrow America, all that will end in that hollow chamber. The lovely wife, children, relatives will all desert you. It's a pity human beings do not learn from happenings because of selfishness. Very sad how we think, accumulating unnecessary wealth. Evil and corrupt people in government spending money like fools and claiming to be fighting against corruption, but are the worst corrupt people in Nigeria today and beyond. This Malami is not a fit and proper person on that legal bench. He's a fraudster, always in the habit of covering up top corrupt officers. He has succeeded in covering up Abba Kyari fraud case, and these are purported leaders. God deliver this country from them. On this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen till I come your way next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.